Hi, second grade teachers. This screencast is going to take you through how to identify the Nearpod lesson that is shown here in the teacher notes for this day lesson. Not only will we take you through finding the lesson in Nearpod, but how to save it into the Seesaw link. I would recommend, we just have incorporated the Google Slides here for your own reference, but I'm going to focus on taking what we find in Nearpod and the student code that comes up for that and linking it into your own class Seesaw, which will then turn into a Seesaw activity for your students. So let's start by using the hyperlink over here that will take us directly to Nearpod. As you can see, when we first log into Nearpod, it automatically asks us to, or not asks us, but just shows us the search for our own library. If you're at all looking at my whole screen, you can see that down here I do have the slideshow Nearpod lesson that we're looking for, but that's just because I already had it in there for the purpose of this lesson. Your library won't automatically have that, so I want to teach you how to find it. Go over to the left on the menu here and find Nearpod library. So now we're going to search the entire Nearpod library for this lesson. I'm going to go back to the plan and toggle to remember what it's called. How do seeds travel? I'm going to type that into the search bar. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to go ahead and just click on that. The first step is saving this into your library. Down here, there's a teal sea green box. Oops, I didn't want to click that. Where it says show in my library. Since I already have saved this, that's the prompt I'm given, but the first prompt you're given will say save to my library. So you're going to click that first, and it doesn't change screens. It stays right here. And then this show in my library prompt that is arrives. If you wanted, before you do any of the getting the code, you can skim through this and determine if you wanted to edit anything or what have you. But I'm going to go ahead and now just look for it in my library. So clicking that sea green box at the bottom. So now what you're going to want to do, you have the option if you wanted to down here by edit. So if you wanted to delete anything or add anything, you can. What I'm going to do is actually click up to the house way up in the top corner and just see my library as a whole. What it allows me to do now, and technically the same option was in the previous screen, I just want to show it from this vantage point. Technically, you are going to think to yourself now, do I want to offer this asynchronous live lesson with my students where we go through it together, which could work. And in that case, you would click live lesson. And at the time, you can do this in a Zoom. So you would already have your Zoom engaged, and on your screen, you'd be showing this screen, and then the students would go to nearpod.com on their iPads and then click in this code. The nice thing about this is you control then the pacing of it, and you can have those, impromptu conversations or turn-in talks with students throughout. However, if I'm going to say, do you want to resume to a leave session? Yes. The other option is that you could offer student pace. So similarly, you'll be given a code. I've already engaged it because I was trying it out for the purpose of the screencast. And similarly, like you saw on the last screen, really large, these 5 letters will pop up in bold. And this is similarly then what you tell students to go to. However, what's really nice about the way this unit was built, I'm going to keep this screen up and go back to the unit plan, is that if you go to this Seesaw link, so the second one down, Seesaw link, there is a lesson activity that is already generated for this. But because everyone's Nearpod code will be different, we left that for you to tailor. So that's the second part now here of this screencast that I'll take you through. So we've opened up that Seesaw. I'm going to hit Save Activity. So now it's saving to my activity library. All right. So Becky Johnson made this from over at Grove. So it'll say her name, but that way now you'll notice this is in your library. So then when you're going to go, what you want to do is just click on it versus click assign right away. You want to edit this. So I'm going to go to these three dots at the bottom and hit, I might even just hit copy and edit. So this will be, and you could, if you wanted to, insert your name. It's up to you. But I am going to click on this, the image. So you have the option now of adding, for example, I'm going to go with a text box, and I'm going to move it down below by the learn. I'm going to put my cursor in here, and if I'm not mistaken, I copied the code here. I hit Command C when that was highlighted. In Seesaw now with this text box, I'm going to hit Command V. Oh, nope, I never actually hit Command C. Let's go back to that and hit Command C and Command B. There it is. So I might make this a little smaller now. And another option is that you could put in here, maybe right before there for kids, class code or lesson code, however you want to call it. And then you can just move it underneath. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit check mark. So now when my students, I can go ahead and hit save. And I can hit assign, for example, and then find the class I want to, you know the rest of the steps. When my students see this particular activity, it will include that class code that will take them directly to the Nearpod. And you are able to, down here in the middle, you can see how there's a view progress bar. So that's another option that you can see if you let students be self-paced, you can see how far along they each are. And it's up for 29 days if you didn't see that real quickly before I closed out of it. So in essence, looking at this lesson, you'll go to Nearpod library, identify this lesson, go ahead and save it to your library, get the code, decide either live or student pace, right? Then go real quick to Seesaw link, and on there you save it to your activity library, and then you copy and edit that activity, insert the Nearpod code on that section of the activity board or choice board, and then you can go ahead and assign that to students. If you have any questions, you can talk with your building coach. Thanks so much.